Hello, my name is Kessely Hong and I'm a lecturer in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School. I teach about negotiation and decision making, and through my teaching I've noticed that a lot of my students, both women and men, but oftentimes particularly women, feel uncomfortable advocating for themselves. Sometimes as women, we might feel the need to put others' interests ahead of our own, or we might be afraid that if we ask for things for ourselves, we'll appear greedy, or some people might not be supportive. I'd really like to help you, women and girls, to learn strategies so that you can feel comfortable advocating both for yourselves and for your communities, because I have found that you're better able to help others, your family, your neighbors, your colleagues, when you feel like you're strong and you have what you need, and not when you feel like you're weak. I'm really excited about the creation of the Girls4Girls program, because I think this is going to be a terrific way for you to gain access to new ideas and a new sense of possibility and hope for yourself, but also a terrific way for you to get access to wonderful mentors and friends so that you can build a community of support around you and you can support others in turn. There are 3 key points that I would like to call your attention to when you think about advocating. And you can sum them up by just thinking about the word you, okay? Because you are the most important piece in this. And from this word you can think about yourself, others, and understanding. And let's start with the piece about yourself. So for yourself, it's important to take time to consider your own goals and interests. What is it that you hope to achieve? You also want to think about what alternatives you have. So what are some different paths you could take to help you reach your goals and meet your interests? What are some of the challenges that you're facing and some strategies you might be able to use to overcome them? You want to be able to think of as many different ways as possible to get to where you want to go, because we're always stronger in negotiation when we can find several different paths or ways to meet our goals. If there's a time when we think that we don't have any options or we only have one option, we sometimes feel weak or even a little bit desperate to make that one option work out. If we know that we have several good options, then we can have the confidence to know that even if one option doesn't work, there are other paths, and so we don't have to give up. I also want you to think about your strengths. What are you really good at and what do you enjoy doing? Sometimes it can feel embarrassing to brag about yourself, but it's important for you to remember your talents and the value that you can bring to others. What are some special contributions that you can make to your family or your schoolwork or your workplace or your community or your society? What are some other things that people besides yourself might appreciate about having you work with them or be part of their team? The next part of you is thinking about not just yourself, but others, right? We usually can't achieve everything on our own, so we're going to need the help and support of other people. So I'd like you to think about the other people whose support you will need to reach your goals and to meet your interests. What are some of their goals and interests? What do they care about? How can you appeal to them by helping them see that helping you will meet their interests? So I'd like you to really think about all the people whose support you would need and what they care about, and then think of ways that you can frame your message to show them that helping you is going to help them meet their own objectives. You also want to help them think about their alternatives. So if they don't work with you and they go to someone else, what would that look like for them? And think about ways that you can do a better job of meeting their interests than any of their other alternatives. You want your own alternatives to be strong, and you want to develop unique skills and assets so that people don't have a good alternative to you, and that'll make them really want to work with you and be really invested in you. You also want to think about other people who can be your allies, who can support you or stand with you, and whom can you support and stand with. And you're going to think about how these other people and these supporters can help you get the confidence you need and the resources you need in order to be able to accomplish your goals. The final part of you is understanding, okay? And there are a couple important pieces about understanding. We often feel like we understand ourselves, but it's harder for us to know if we're really understanding other people. So If someone says no to you, or someone tries to stop you or block you, instead of just getting frustrated with them or giving up, try and understand and listen and think about what it is that they care about, why they might be afraid or concerned about supporting you. Think about what their interests and motivations are, and also their constraints, and think if you can find a different way to communicate your request to them to make it easier for them to say yes to you. When you think about your communication, we often know in our own head what we want, so we assume that's also transparent to other people, and we just blurt things out however we happen to think about it. It's important when you have a negotiation to actually practice beforehand and think of ways that you can make your communication very short, very clear, and very direct in a way that appeals to the other person's interest. That will make it easier for them to understand what you want and to be willing to say yes to you. I think one of the most important pieces of the Girls4Girls platform is that it's going to help set you up in mentorship circles. So you'll be connected not just with a mentor, but with other wonderful women who are also eager to help change the world and make it a better place. And I have a couple of suggestions for how you spend your time in those mentorship circles. So I think you'll be meeting a couple of times every month. And what I would urge you to do is to set aside some time at each meeting to shine a spotlight on one or two members of your group. And when you're shining a spotlight on a member, that means that you're first going to have all the other members of the group let that person know what they appreciate about that individual. So what is it that this person is really good at? How has she helped others in the group? What great skills and qualities do they see shining forth from her? Sometimes it's hard for us to recognize and appreciate our own talents, and it can be really helpful to see ourselves through the eyes of others. The next thing I'd like you to do with the person on whom you're shining the spotlight is to have that person share with you that person's goals and also some of the challenges or obstacles they see that might be obstructing them reaching their goals, and some of the ideas they have for paths forward. And you can brainstorm as a group to think about strategies that can be used to overcome the obstacles, and also to come up with some different kinds of alternative paths forward that that individual may not have thought of yet. And then the final part is role playing. So if this person anticipates having a difficult conversation with one of the key allies whose support they would need in order to achieve their goal, maybe you can have some people from your group pretend to be that person, think about that person's interests, and you can practice having different kinds of conversations where the person whose goals you're focusing on will try some different strategies and practice some different ways to try and move the conversation forward and gain the support from any of the allies she may need. I think you're going to have a wonderful time together in your mentorship circles, and I wish all of you a lot of luck. Thank you.